Lou here from Click Club Grow, and big welcome today to Lorinda Armstrong. Great to have you here.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
I know it is exciting. It's always fun to, chat with people in our community and look at your images and hear about your experiences with photography. So Lorinda, I would love to learn a little bit more about you and where you are in the world. So can you please share with us a little bit about yourself and how you found Click Club Grow?
Okay, so I am currently living in Maitland in New South Wales. I have 3 children. So I have a daughter who's 14, a son who is 12, and my youngest son who will be 8 on Saturday.
Oh.
Yes, he's very excited. I'm a defence wife, so I've been married to the Air Force for 22 years and we've moved around a lot. And I'm a special needs mum as well to my 12-year-old son.
Yeah, so we were just chatting before about Air Force experiences and
yes.
moving and what that's like, and the challenges that come with that. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about photography is being able to connect with the community and others in a space where it doesn't matter where you move or where you are in the world, you have something that can kind of allow you to connect with others. Have you found that to be true?
Yeah, exactly. And that's sort of, it was my thinking, when my youngest was about to start school, I kind of had this sort of bit of an identity crisis, I guess, and I kind of thought at that point, oh, what am I going to do? What do I want my life to look like? And I wasn't quite sure since my youngest was born and photography as a good option. I had been taking photos for a very long time of my family and documenting, for the 11 years before that. So yeah, I sort of started to think then, well, what would I be capable of if I pursued this further? And that was one of the biggest things was that, it would be a really portable skill. It would be great for, defence life. We don't have any family that live near us to help, in a regular job with school pickups and, just that kind of extra family support. So the idea that kind of planted in the back of my mind was that it could be a really flexible option that would work with our life and also around the special needs of my son, because I couldn't just put him in regular after school care and that sort of thing. So it was definitely something that I hoped I was going to be good at and would work well with my life.
And you definitely are, Lorinda. And so we're going to have a look at your images. And specifically today, we're going to talk about the advanced photography course. So we're chatting to advanced grads all this week about the role that photography plays in their life and how it's impacted them and how they've used photography in different ways. And so for you, you have actually started a photography business, which is really exciting. And when you do have defense moves, it does mean that you have that flexibility, which I think is fantastic. Hi, Ingrid. There's people saying hi, Lorinda. She's listening in from Toowoomba. Hey, Kirley, listening in from Victoria. If you are watching, please do say hi. So Lorinda, let's dive in and have a look at some of your photos because they are really beautiful. And while we bring that first photo up, can you tell me how you came across Click Club Grow and kind of what was your journey to getting to the advanced photography course?
Well, how far back should I go?
Yeah.
So my whole photography journey, I guess, started when my kids were little. And, I started something called Project Life, which was it was that Becky Higgins. I don't know if the Project Life albums where you take a photo a day. So it's like a Project 365.
Like kind of like scrapbooking.
Yes, it was like that, but the easy way. So it came with a binder and plastic pockets that you just slide your photos into and journal a little bit. So I really wanted to start that and the idea of, documenting our lives when the kids were little really appealed to me. So I wasn't sure whether it was something I could keep up with or not, but I did. And I did that first year, and I did next year. And yeah, I've documented our lives now for the last 11 years.
That's amazing. Wow,
yeah,
that's really
so we have a really nice little collection that documents our kids' childhood, which I would just love to have had of my own childhood.
Mm-hmm.
But so yeah, I guess that's what really sparked, a love of photography. But I was still using a pretty entry-level point and click, camera. And my husband had a DSLR camera that he knew how to use quite well in manual mode. But whenever I would pick that camera up, I was just really disappointed with the photos I was taking. They were blurry. I didn't understand the limitations of auto mode at that stage, and just you just kind of think, this is a really expensive, amazing camera, the picture should be amazing, but kids are fast, and it's not clever enough to know what you want to get out of a photo. So I would often use it and then just put it back on the shelf and go back to my little point and click auto one. But when I really started thinking then about life after my youngest started school, and having that idea that I wanted to pursue photography, that was when I really sort of started thinking, okay, I really have to delve in deep here and start learning manual mode. So unfortunately, I wasn't aware of the enthusiast course at that point, and I sort of piece things together through internet articles and using my husband's knowledge and that sort of thing to get my head around manual mode. And it was clunky and took a lot of thought process. But eventually my photos just, even though I could use manual mode and they were well exposed and that sort of thing, my photos just, something was missing, and I didn't really know what that was. And I did come across you guys, Click Love Grow, eventually, and I could see the work that the advanced grads were producing, and I was pretty sure that's what I needed in my life. I sort of went from there. I actually missed the first intake that came along. And kicked myself hugely. I wasn't ready at that point, I think, I was ready, but I just wasn't backing myself and willing to invest in that sort of thing, which I should have. When that next one came around, I think it was September 2020 that I did the advanced course, I jumped on it, and it's been the best thing I've ever done.
I'm so glad that you did. And I think that's really true about not backing ourselves to kind of invest in ourselves or do something that's for ourselves, especially as mums when we have so many other competing priorities and things pulling us in lots of directions, and often we feel like we can't carve out the time or whatever it is for us. So I think that's really definitely relatable, and probably many of us have been in that situation before. But I'm so glad that you did join our advanced course. Emma said, I did the same thing. I missed the first intake, then had the worst FOMO.
Absolutely, yes. As soon as the deadline went, I went, why didn't I just, why didn't I do it? And but there's so many, I think, and for me, I was just a stay-at-home mum for such a long time, and it took a lot to just to put myself first and really invest in my dream and do something that I wanted to do. And you have that guilt factor that everyone else had come first for such a long time, and it was just it was hard to take that step.
So asking, having jumped into the advanced course, and now photography being such a big thing in your life, what do you say to yourself retrospectively? Like, has that guilt gone away?
Absolutely. And it's really, I mean, for my confidence, it's just been amazing for me, yeah, to step out of that, to have something for me, I guess, yeah, I should have, I knew that's what I wanted to do, but it was just all those other things, that come into play in your head and that hold you back. So, yes, in hindsight.
Absolutely. Well, let's have a look at some of your beautiful
Yes,
photos, Lorinda. I absolutely love this photo. I love the light, the moment that you've captured, the color tones. Can you tell us about this photo and why you love it?
Yeah, this one I do love. My littlest Alex just loves dress ups and really gets into character. And he just had this combination on one day of the Superman outfit and his astronaut helmet. And I really wanted to capture it. And I think, at that time, yeah, I was becoming a lot more aware of, rather than just taking it where he was standing, thinking about being more purposeful with where would be the best place in the house and where the light was the nicest. So I had that sort of darker feature wall in my bedroom.
It's beautiful.
And I knew the light, like we get quite, as you can see, that harsh sort of afternoon sunlight coming in the window there. And yeah, I just thought that location at that time of day was just going to be the best place. So yeah, we mucked around for a little bit and he jumped on the bed and, we played around. There's lots of photos in that series, but this one, he just kind of sat, and just the way he's kind of, just gazing out the window. Yeah. It's like he's really kind of deep in thought about his next mission, or I don't know, just really, I just love how it captures him as he is. Yeah,
it is a beautiful shot. And especially with boys that age as well. So my Harry, he actually has a birthday on Friday this week as well. So again, lots of birthday lists and very excited.
Yes.
But I love these moments where they are a little bit more quieter and you can see that they're in thought. Because a lot of the time they are so busy playing and being active. So it is beautiful to capture. I would love to ask you, so obviously this is using, that beautiful light that you have coming in from the window, and you have that great combination of darker tones and lighter tones. Is that something that you enjoyed learning about in the advanced course and pushing those elements a little more for?
Absolutely, yes. I'd always looked at those sort of low tone, low key pictures. I didn't know that it was even called low key before that, but and I didn't know how to achieve that. And as my other son, my 12-year-old as well, he loves sunlight, little pockets of light, and you will find him, if you can't find him, you just go to wherever the sunlight's coming in the house, and he'll be sitting in those little pockets of light, just playing, watching the shadows and things. And I'd always wanted to be able to capture that, but never knew how, because when you're learning like correct exposure, everything comes out well exposed. And you can't capture that moodiness. But yes, as soon as, that low-key lesson, that was a real aha moment for me. And it's so lovely now to be able to capture and create more feeling, I guess, around these little moments than what I could before. So yeah,
absolutely.
It's really cool.
And I love that you've embraced it and used it in this image, and we see it in a lot of your work, finding the light. And you just talked about your son and how he loves those pockets of sunlight. Can you tell us about this shot, and also using photography as a way to kind of look after yourself while you went through difficult things with your family?
Yeah, so this is Hayden, and he is my 12-year-old. Hayden was diagnosed at 6 months old with something called Pitt-Hopkins syndrome. And funnily enough, when I said before, when I first decided to do Project Life, he was 6 months old, my daughter was 2. It was that first week, my kit arrived and I was all excited to record, and start documenting our life. And then we had sort of a lot of testing and that from when he was born. I sort of thought something might have been up. But it was that week that Project Life arrived
Oh,
that we got the
wow.
call. Yeah, we got the call from the pediatrician saying, look, we've got the latest test results back. You have to come in tomorrow. And it was, that Friday of that week, we went in and sat in his office, and he told us, he gave us a diagnosis. And it was devastating. So he would never speak. They didn't know if he would ever walk. He would be severely physically and intellectually delayed. There was a lot of complications which could also occur. They couldn't tell us a lot more about it. At that stage, it is still very rare. And he was only the second person in Australia to be diagnosed.
Yeah, that's very rare.
So, our sort of world just kind of fell apart, really, with just what we thought our life was going to look like. And, when you have your second child, you really envisaging that sort of sibling relationship that your children are going to have. And that wasn't going to happen. His life wasn't going to be what we wanted for him. So there was a lot of grief over the life that we had lost, that we were looking forward to having, and a process to move through to accept the life that we were now going to have. And I didn't know then if I was going to continue with this Project Life that I was so excited about. But I did. I thought, no, I'm going to take the photos and I'm going to record this, because that's what it was all about for me, was recording not just the good times, but the hard times and the sad times and the, life, Project Life. It's supposed to record,
What's your story and his story.
Yes. So, and I actually really found it very therapeutic to go back and because you find yourself taking photos of, at that time, I sort of felt like our world had fallen apart. But when you went back through the photos, you were seeing the little moments of happiness that were still in your life, the funny things Emily was still doing as a toddler, and all those daily things, the new shoes, or the what we were eating, or the love at that time from family and friends, and the notes and flowers we were getting sent, and just it really made you thankful for all the good that was still in our life. And in a time that felt really dark, it was really cathartic, I think, to be able, it just really helped process what had gone on, and and help move through that time. So and I think probably that's why I've continued on with it as well. And there's been other, obviously in 11 years, other massive life changing events and that as well. And each time I found that it has been hard sometimes to go back, but really beneficial and therapeutic as a way of processing those events.
Absolutely. And it's so true. I hadn't considered what you said about being able to look back at the images, because I've found too, in periods of grief, I forget so much of what happened in those periods, and even having a small baby and a child. And I'm the same. I look back at photos and I'm almost surprised by the smiles or the joyful moments that were recorded that my brain really hasn't held on to because of everything else that was going on in those moments. So that is a real gift that you were able to be able to look back at those photos that you'd kept and put together. And I think many people, you have a very powerful story, and thank you for sharing that experience with us. And someone in the comments, Elizabeth, says, I have a similar story. That is such a life-changing thing and a lot of grief to process. But photography as a way to deal with many things that happen in life, I find can be something to disappear into, or to switch. For me, I can switch my brain off from what's happening at the moment and channel myself into exploring through the lens or wandering with the camera. And it's a way to kind of look after myself a little bit and give myself a mental break from other things that might be happening. Do you find, in addition to the documenting life side of things, that you use photography a little bit in that way too?
Yeah, I do. And I think I find it, again, something that is just for me. And that I enjoy. And even though I'm taking pictures of the kids, you know, a lot of the time, I'm still doing it for my, you know, creative expression, or and it feels a part of me that, you know, being a wife and a mum, it doesn't, like, it's just this extra kind of creative bucket that I think needs to be topped up.
Absolutely.
So
I think
it's
for
great
many
that.
women our age too, that creativity piece often is something that falls away.
It really does. Yeah. And it's not till you get to that certain point, I think, that you realize that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And going back to this photo, it's such a
Yeah.
gorgeous photo, you know, not just compositionally, the
So
light
this,
is really pretty, but that moment that you've captured, I think, is really powerful and beautiful as well. But the style of photography that you've chose, I think, you know, the compositions or shooting in low key using light can enhance the emotion in a photo like this.
Yeah, and the black and white as well, I think, sort of,
Definitely,
you know, makes you zero in on that, you know, that emotional side of it. But that's an example of Hayden playing in that pocket of light at the front door there. And I think this wasn't set up or anything. My husband just sat down with him on his knee. Sometimes, you know, Hayden's a bit unpredictable, and he's still nonverbal. He won't ever speak, and he doesn't have any way of communicating with us at the moment. So, you know, we often, as a way of calming him, will just sit him on our knee and give him a cuddle, and you know, to calm him. And I think that's sort of what was happening here. And I just kind of said, don't move, I have to get the camera. And just, you know, and again, like, Hayden's interesting to photograph because he can't, you know, he doesn't follow direction. You can't say, just look this way, or, you know, just smile at mummy, or he just does what he does, is, you know. So it's, for this sort of thing, it's kind of like just sitting and waiting for that moment to happen as well. You know, I knew that he would look at Dean eventually like that, and it's just kind of waiting it out to get that moment. It's
beautiful. So we'll have a look at some of your other images. So one of the things that you do with your photography now is obviously capturing moments for other families, and running your photography business. So can you tell us a little bit, you know, how that process has been, and then tell us about this photo, because it's absolutely beautiful. That little expression on baby's face, precious.
I know it is, this one. I think it is. And again, the black and white, I think, really picks up and really highlights that emotion. But this, I've loved capturing images for others. I think I kind of got thrown in the deep end a little bit by a friend. I think that's just what happens when people find out that you're, you know, taking photos. It's like, oh, you should take photos of, you know, such and such, she's having a baby. And, you know, and that's what happened with me not long after I'd learned manual mode. And it was daunting and crazy. But so after that first session, I gave this family their photos, and I just got such a buzz out of their reaction. And, you know, I'd created something that didn't exist before, and then they had all these beautiful memories of that time. And I just went, it was like, I don't know, it was like a hit. I was like, I need that again. I need more of that, you know. So I knew then that that's what I wanted to do. I really wanted to, you know, take photos for others and give them these sorts of memories. So this one was a little newborn session, obviously, and they were just sitting on the end of the bed in the master bedroom. The light was coming from the window in front of them there, but there was a veranda all the way around that house, so it kind of diffused the light more than usual. It kind of allowed for this kind of, these moody sort of shadows and things to happen. But that face, that expression, and the texture on his little hat, and just, you know, mum and dad right there. It's just,
and her hand is placed so beautifully. Great storytelling. I love that, Lorinda. And here's another one with a gorgeous baby. This one using the beautiful light that you have.
Yes.
Tell us about this shot.
Yes, well, I mean, I'd always loved golden hour, even before, you know, I was photography crazy. And I could never quite, I didn't really know what I was doing before advanced course in terms of where to place people, that sort of thing. Sometimes I'd fluke something amazing, but it was a bit of a fluke. Yeah, so this was one of the ones after I'd done advanced course, and the light was just really like beautifully filtering through. It's a weeping willow behind him there, and it was, yeah, just the perfect, it was just this beautiful warm summer's evening, and I just got Dad lined up there with his beautiful little girl, and captured their expressions there with that nice light behind them.
Oh, Dad's face is very
yeah,
smitten.
again,
I love it.
yeah, it's gorgeous, isn't it?
He is really lovely. So we have some before and after. So one of the things I always think about befores is we always still love the photos, right? Even if they're not technically perfect, even if they don't, you know, they're not similar to the photos we take now. I think it's always still really important to acknowledge that any kind of before photo is still going to be special to us, but it is also nice to see the progress when you can compare, you know, technically speaking, what you can achieve. So looking at these two before and after photos, can you tell us how it feels to look at that and you know, the process of getting there?
Yeah, so I look at that second one and I'm like, yes, I made it. You know, yeah, that first one, the before, is a really good example of just, you know, obviously knowing how to use manual mode, like it's
And you were
focused,
using
it's well
beautiful
exposed.
light and it's
Yeah,
sharp.
so yeah, but it's just there's just that something missing, you know. It was flat light that day. It was cloudy, but you know, I've got so much knowledge now, like even on a cloudy day, with how to position them better, and yeah, and even like editing and that as well, like through the advanced course, and like my editing has improved a lot. And how to get the most out of, like, if you placing someone in the right direction with the light, how to maximize that in editing and that as well. So and it's funny because those pictures were taken probably 2 years apart.
Oh wow.
But it's at the same place. That's at their family, their cousins, and it's at my in-laws' place. So same location. Just obviously
working things a lot differently.
That's
it's
right.
such a beautiful after, and your work is really gorgeous and you should be really proud of it, Lorinda. And so I wanted to ask you, you know, in the process of doing the advanced course, you said that you were a little hesitant to jump in, but what was your favorite aspect of taking part in the course?
It was, look, in terms of lessons, it was all about the light for me. And that's what I really realized was missing in my photos, that I didn't know where I was guessing at where to place people. And like I said, sometimes I'd fluke something amazing, but it was just sort of trial and error. I wasn't making really informed decisions about where the light was. I couldn't see the light. You know, I was really focused on my settings on the camera, and I wasn't tuned in to looking for the light. So I love the light, you know, specifically because I do mainly kind of outdoor family sessions, so a lot of that natural outdoor light. And the biggest thing for me probably in that whole light module was learning how to create rim light when it wasn't like golden hour, like at any time of day, using the, you know, light pockets. And I just went, oh my gosh, that was just like mind-blowing. and really changed the way, you know, it kind of made, wow, I can take photos at any kind of day and still achieve that kind of golden glow when you know what you're doing. So yeah, that was really huge.
Love an aha moment. It's always
yes.
always
the other
really
thing,
great.
The other thing about the course was just all of a sudden then being part of a group of women that were doing the same thing. And it, you know, for me, I think, especially learning manual mode, it was just really nice to feel a part of something. And I like that about all your courses, actually, because I'm part of the business builder one as well. And that's sort of going from just being so solitary and working on your own to feeling like you're part of this group, and this supportive group of women is just amazing. And that was huge for me as well, to then be all of a sudden part of this little community.
I definitely feel you, and I'm so passionate about creating and running those spaces because they've always been so valuable to me, and I've sorted out and I know how beneficial it can be. So I'm really glad that you enjoyed that aspect of the course, because we do really work hard on making sure that that support, but that community and feeling like you can, you know, take part and be part of the group is, you know, I think really key to learning as well, if you feel comfortable in those spaces. So there's probably people watching today who might be thinking about the advanced course and kind of, you know, maybe having some hesitation or doubts, but do you have any words of inspiration?
Look, I would say if you are thinking about doing the advanced course, jump in and do it. It's the best decision you will make for your photography. And I just feel like you never know what you're going to be capable of unless you do it and learn like the knowledge, you know what I mean? I think it's yeah, like I couldn't quite put my finger on what was missing with my photography, but you will find it in the advanced course. Do it.
I love that, and big thank you for sharing your images and your story with us today, Lorinda. It's really lovely to be able to get an insight into the different experiences that people in our community have and what photography means to them. So I'm very grateful, and big thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been amazing.
It's always fun to chat. To everyone who's joining in, who's joined us on the call, shout out and hello to you. Colleen is here. Sonia says hello from Ohio. Ulis says hello from Bunbury, WA. Kelsey's listening from Florida. So nice that we have people listening in from all over the world who are part of Click Love Grow. And if you are thinking about joining us on the next advanced photography course, the cart will be opening later this week. If you're on the wait list though, check your email. You can dive in a little bit earlier, and we get started with lesson 1 on the 27th of September. So I hope you enjoy the rest of the day, and I hope you can join me tomorrow. I'm going to be chatting to another advanced grad, Amy Holcomb, which will be fun. And she's going to be sharing with us fun photography jobs that she has got to experience since becoming a photographer. So thank you again, Lorinda, and thanks for everyone watching. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
That was brilliant. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, is that okay?
Wasn't too nerve-wracking, was it?
Oh, just a bit. I just my brain feels like I'm going everywhere, and I'm like, does this even make sense?
No, it's lovely. I mean, I think it's nice. It's so lovely just to almost be having a normal conversation. I think people enjoy listening in that format. And you're great. That was wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on.